My sister fabricated evidence of my affairs and I lost everything. But after 6 years, I, 45 meters, was married to my high school sweetheart Rachel, 45F. We have 4 daughters together: Lauren, 24F, Madison, 22F, Olivia, 21F, and Ashley, 18F. Our love story began in freshman year when we were both 14. I still remember the first time I saw her in our English class. She had dropped her books, and I helped her pick them up. It was like something out of a teen movie, but it was our reality. My parents, Robert, 68M, and Pamela, 66F, loved Rachel from the moment they met her. She was the daughter they never had. Even in those early dating years, Mom would invite her over for Sunday dinners and teach her our family recipes. Dad treated her like his own daughter, always giving us guided our relationship for decades. Each of my daughters holds special memories that make this separation even more painful. Lauren, our eldest, was my shadow in her early years. I remember spending countless weekends teaching her to ride a bike in the park near our house. She was determined to learn without training wheels, just like the older kids. When she finally succeeded, her proud smile lit up the entire neighborhood. Now she's a successful lawyer, just like she always dreamed of being. Madison, our creative soul, turned our garage into her art studio when she was 15. I helped her set it up, building easels and organizing her supplies. We spent an entire summer converting that space, and it became her sanctuary. She painted a family portrait that hung in our living room. It was her first major piece. I wonder if it's still there. Olivia's soccer games were the highlight of my weekends. I never missed a single one until I was forced to miss them all. I can still hear her excited voice when she called me at work to tell me about making the varsity team as a freshman. I was the one who taught her to play, spending hours in the backyard practicing penalty kicks. She always said I was her lucky charm at games. And Ashley, my tech-savvy youngest, she was my little coding buddy. We built her first computer together when she was just 10. She was so excited to learn programming that we'd stay up late into the night working on simple games. She had this idea for an app that would help kids learn math through puzzles. We were halfway through developing it when everything fell apart. The early years of our marriage were magical but challenging. When we found out Rachel was pregnant with Lauren during our senior year, we were terrified but excited. Instead of going straight to college, I took a job at a local manufacturing company while taking night classes. Rachel finished her degree part-time while raising Lauren. We lived in a tiny one-bedroom apartment, barely making ends meet, but we were happy. Those years taught us resilience and teamwork. But there was always one shadow over our happiness: my younger sister Jamie, 43F. The signs were there from the beginning, but I was too trusting to see them clearly. Even in high school, Jamie would find excuses to be around us. She'd offer to drive Rachel home when I had basketball practice, or she'd coincidentally show up at our favorite diner during our date nights. Jamie had a pattern of obsessive behavior that I now recognize. Before Rachel, she fixated on her middle school teacher, writing her letters and following her to the grocery store. Our parents brushed it off as a harmless crush. In high school, she became obsessed with a girl in her class, creating elaborate stories about their relationship when they had barely spoken. Again, it was dismissed as teenage drama. The first major red flag appeared when Rachel and I got engaged. Jamie didn't just disapprove, she went into a rage. She showed up at Rachel's workplace, causing a scene that almost got her fired. She was screaming about how they were meant to be together, how I had stolen her from Rachel. Rachel was terrified. She immediately told me everything, and that's when I first seriously considered cutting ties with Jamie. But my parents intervened. They convinced us that Jamie needed help, not rejection. We spent months in family therapy sessions. Jamie seemed to improve, apologized, and appeared to accept our relationship. She even gave a touching speech at our wedding, though I now wonder if it was all part of her long-term plan. Over the years, Jamie worked her way deeper into our lives. She got me a job at her company, positioned herself as the favorite aunt to our daughters, and became a constant presence at family gatherings. She was particularly close to Lauren and Madison, often buying them expensive gifts and taking them on special outings. I thought she was just being a good aunt, making up for her past behavior. Looking back, I can see how she systematically built trust with every member of my family. She helped my parents with their finances, assisted Rachel with her career networking, and was always there when anyone needed help. She created an image of herself as the reliable, stable sister, in contrast to my busy schedule and frequent business trips. The business trips were necessary for my career growth, but Jamie used them against me. She would tell Rachel things like, "Mike's always away, but I'm here if you need anything." She volunteered to help with home repairs and school events when I was traveling. At the time, I was grateful for her help. Now I see it was all part of her manipulation. 6 years ago, everything fell apart. I had been away on a week-long business trip to our company's West Coast office. It was a major project presentation that could lead to a promotion. I called Rachel every night, sharing every detail of my day, missing her and the girls terribly. I even had video calls with the girls, helping Ashley with her math homework remotely and listening to Madison's latest art project ideas. When I returned home, I found my entire family in our living room. Rachel and the girls were crying, and Jamie was there, looking solemn. The atmosphere was heavy with tension. Rachel looked at me with such hatred in her eyes, a look I'll never forget, and asked, "How could you do this to us?" Jamie had prepared her attack perfectly. She produced a folder containing what appeared to be irrefutable evidence of my infidelity. There were photos of me with another woman entering a hotel, intimate text messages, and even hotel receipts. She claimed the woman was a coworker who had confessed everything to her out of guilt. The photos were expertly edited. I later learned they were taken during legitimate business meetings and manipulated to look suspicious. The text messages were complete fabrications, but they included details about my work schedule and travel plans that only someone with inside knowledge could know. Jamie had used her position at our company to make everything look authentic. I tried desperately to defend myself, but Jamie had poisoned everyone against me long before I walked through that door. She had spent weeks dropping subtle hints to Rachel about my strange behavior. She had convinced my daughters that I was acting differently. She had even told my parents that she was worried about my choices. The next few hours were a nightmare that still haunts me. Lauren, who had always been my staunchest defender, threw her house key at me and screamed that she would never forgive me. Madison was sobbing so hard she could barely speak, but her words, "I hate you," came through clearly enough. Olivia, my athlete, the daughter who used to run to me after every soccer game, couldn't even look at me. And Ashley, only 12 at the time, clung to Rachel while asking, "Why did Daddy do this to us?" My parents' reaction was perhaps the most painful. Dad, who had always been proud of me, who had taught me everything about being a good husband and father, looked at me with complete disgust. He said words that still echo in my head, "No son of mine would do this to his family. If you had any decency left, you'd make this divorce quick and clean." I was kicked out that night with just a suitcase of clothes. The following weeks were a blur of desperate attempts to prove my innocence. I hired 3 different private investigators, spending nearly all my savings. The first PI spent weeks tracking down the alleged other woman, only to discover she had conveniently transferred to another state. The second investigator focused on the hotel receipts but couldn't prove they were forgeries despite finding some inconsistencies. The third PI actually got close to uncovering Jamie's manipulation but suddenly dropped the case without explanation. I later discovered Jamie had threatened his family. The divorce was quick and brutal. Rachel, devastated and angry, wanted nothing to do with me. My daughters blocked my number and social media. The only contact I had was through lawyers. Within 6 months, I lost everything: my family, my home, most of my friends, and even my job. Jamie had been methodically spreading rumors at work, suggesting I had a history of inappropriate relationships with coworkers. Although nothing was official, the stigma followed me, and clients started requesting not to work with me. I moved to a small apartment across town and started rebuilding my life from scratch. The loneliness was crushing. I would sit in my car outside my old house sometimes, just hoping to catch a glimpse of my daughters. Each missed milestone felt like a knife in my heart. Lauren's law school graduation, I watched from afar in the parking lot, unable to approach. Madison's first art exhibition, I sent an anonymous purchase of her favorite piece. Olivia's college soccer championships, I streamed them online, cheering alone in my apartment. Ashley's science fair victories, I read about them in the local paper. But nothing prepared me for the pain of Lauren's wedding. I learned about it through a mutual friend's social media post. The photo showed Jamie walking my daughter down the aisle, my role, my moment, stolen from me. I spent that entire day in a dark place, contemplating things I'm not proud of. That's when I adopted Max, my cat, from the local shelter. He needed someone as much as I did, and honestly, he saved my life more than once. Work became my only escape. I changed companies, moved to a different department, and threw myself into my career. I got promoted twice, but success felt hollow without my family to share it with. The new company didn't know about my past, but I could never form close relationships with coworkers. How do you explain why you never talk about your family? Why you eat lunch alone? Why you never attend office parties? I tried dating a few times over the years, but my heart wasn't in it. The first question was always about family, and I never knew how to answer. How do you tell someone that your sister systematically destroyed your life? That your entire family believes you're a cheater? That your daughters hate you? Most first dates didn't lead to seconds. Every holiday was a reminder of what I'd lost. Thanksgiving meant eating microwave dinners alone. Christmas involved watching old home videos and drinking too much. Birthdays, both mine and my daughter's, were the worst. I still bought them presents every year, keeping them in a storage unit because I couldn't bear to look at the unopened gifts in my apartment. Then, 3 days ago, everything changed. I received a call from an unknown number. It was my mom, crying. She said they had discovered the truth about Jamie's deception but wouldn't give details over the phone. She begged me to meet with them, saying everyone was sorry and wanted to make amends. I hung up feeling numb. 6 years. 6 years of pain, loneliness, and lost memories. 6 years of my daughters growing up without their father. 6 years of Jamie living the life she stole from me. A simple sorry can't fix that. I've contacted a law firm specializing in family law and defamation cases. The lawyer believes we might have a strong case, especially if my family now has evidence of Jamie's deception. I'm not interested in reconciliation. I want justice. I want Jamie to face legal consequences for destroying my life. Some might think I'm being too harsh. That family should forgive. But Jamie didn't just break my trust, she systematically destroyed my entire life. She took away my role as a father, poisoned my daughters against me, and stole precious years I can never get back. How do you forgive someone who took away your chance to see your children grow up? Who made you miss your daughter's wedding? Who turned your entire family against you with calculated, methodical precision? Tomorrow, I'm meeting with the lawyers to discuss our options. I haven't responded to my mom's request for a meeting yet. Part of me wants to know how they discovered the truth, but another part feels it doesn't matter anymore. The damage is done. I'll update when I have more information. Right now, I need to focus on the legal aspects and maintaining my own mental health through all this. Update 1. Just met with my team of lawyers and received shocking evidence from my parents. Here's what happened in the last 2 days. The meeting with my lawyers was eye-opening. They explained that Jamie could face multiple criminal charges based on the evidence my parents provided. My mother handed over a thick folder containing original, unedited photos that clearly show how Jamie manipulated the images. They also discovered email chains between Jamie and a professional photo editing service, along with bank statements showing payments for creating fake hotel receipts. The truth came out in an unexpected way. During a drunk argument with Rachel last week, Jamie accidentally slipped up, saying she didn't plan all this just to lose her now. This comment prompted Rachel to start digging, and she found a hidden email account on their shared computer. The emails contained everything: detailed documentation of her 6-year plan to destroy my life, communications with various people she hired to help her, and even draft versions of the fake text she created. The police investigation has gained significant momentum. They've already interviewed Jamie's co-conspirators, including the photo editor and the friend who helped create fake hotel bookings. These individuals are now cooperating with authorities, hoping to avoid charges themselves by testifying against Jamie. What's particularly disturbing is Jamie's meticulous record-keeping. Rachel discovered a password-protected journal on her laptop and turned it over to my lawyers. The journal reveals that she began plotting even before my wedding to Rachel. She wrote extensively about biding her time and waiting for the perfect moment to execute her plan. My former employer has launched an internal investigation after discovering that Jamie used company resources to fabricate evidence and threatened several colleagues to maintain her lies. The HR department is preparing a formal apology, and there's serious discussion about compensation for wrongful termination. The evidence keeps mounting. Forensic experts found deleted files showing she had attempted similar schemes twice before but failed to execute them properly. The level of premeditation is staggering. Rachel has initiated divorce proceedings against Jamie and is fully cooperating with investigators. Learning about how she manipulated my daughters has been the most painful part. Her journal entries detail her systematic approach to poisoning them against me. She would carefully plant doubts, twist my words, and create situations designed to make me look bad. She even paid one of Ashley's friends to claim they had seen me with another woman. The police raid on Jamie's office today uncovered even more evidence. They found additional forged documents she hadn't yet used, multiple burner phones, and USB drives containing backup copies of her fabricated evidence. They also discovered a list of people she was blackmailing to maintain her web of lies. My lawyers are confident about pursuing maximum penalties. Given the extent and duration of her crimes, they believe Jamie could face up to 15 years in prison, with civil damages potentially reaching $1 million. They've advised me to decline all contact with my family for now, insisting everything must go through proper legal channels. The investigation has also revealed another victim. 20 years ago, Jamie orchestrated a similar scheme against her college roommate and the roommate's girlfriend. After hearing about my case, this previous victim contacted my lawyers to share his story. I'm staying focused on the legal proceedings rather than any potential reconciliation with my family. The grand jury hearing is next week, and we're filing the civil suit tomorrow. What matters now is ensuring Jamie faces the full consequences of her actions. I'll update when there are significant developments in the legal proceedings. Update 2. The legal wheels are turning faster than expected. After my last update, several major developments have occurred that I need to share. Jamie was arrested yesterday morning at her workplace. An employee had overheard Jamie making calls about destroying evidence and immediately reported it to both the company's security and police. During the arrest, she tried to delete files from her work computer, but the IT department had already secured everything. Her reaction to being arrested was telling. Instead of denying anything, she simply said, "He was supposed to be mine anyway." The grand jury indictment came through today. The evidence was so compelling that they took less than 2 hours to return their decision. The prosecutor called it one of the clearest cases of premeditated malice she's seen in her 20-year career. During police interrogation, Jamie's true nature finally emerged. She completely broke down and revealed additional details about her obsession. Apparently, she had been secretly recording Rachel for years, collecting thousands of hours of footage from hidden cameras in their house. The police are treating this as a separate case of criminal surveillance. The company's internal investigation revealed something even more disturbing. Jamie had been embezzling money to fund her scheme. She set up fake vendor accounts and had been siphoning off company funds for years to pay for the various people she hired to help create the false evidence against me. The company is now pressing separate charges. My daughter's reactions to these revelations have been mixed. Lauren, being a lawyer herself, has been reviewing all the evidence. She called me today, our first direct conversation in 6 years. She couldn't speak through her tears at first. When she finally could talk, she explained how Jamie had manipulated each of them differently, playing on their individual insecurities and fears. Madison discovered that several of her art pieces, which Jamie had claimed to help sell, were actually hidden in a storage unit she rented. She had been stealing Madison's work and telling her they hadn't sold to keep her financially dependent on her. Madison is pressing separate charges for theft. Olivia found recordings of Jamie bribing her college soccer coach to bench her during important games where I might have shown up to watch. She wanted to ensure I couldn't reconnect with Olivia through sports. The NCAA is now involved and conducting their own investigation. The most heartbreaking revelation came from Ashley. She found diary entries where Jamie detailed how she deliberately sabotaged the coding project we were working on before everything fell apart. She had hired someone to hack and corrupt our work, knowing how much that shared passion meant to our relationship. Rachel's divorce proceedings have unearthed more evidence. Their joint tax returns show she had been hiding significant assets, including property purchased under fake names. The forensic accountants have traced money transfers to offshore accounts dating back to even before our divorce. My parents are devastated by the scope of Jamie's deception. Dad had a minor heart attack when he learned about the hidden cameras in their house too. Jamie had been surveilling the entire family, collecting material she could use for manipulation. She had files on everyone's secrets, weaknesses, and private moments. The criminal psychologist's report was released today. It describes Jamie as having one of the most severe cases of obsessive personality disorder, combined with sociopathic tendencies, they've encountered. Her journals show she viewed the destruction of my life as an art form, meticulously planning each detail. Previous victims have continued to come forward. 2 more families have reported similar schemes from Jamie's past, though not as elaborate as what she did to me. These cases stretch back to her college days, showing a clear pattern of escalating behavior. The prosecutor is now pushing for additional charges related to organized crime, as evidence shows Jamie had built a small network of blackmailed individuals who helped her maintain her deception. Some were other professionals she had dirt on, others were people she had financially compromised. I've maintained my distance from the family reconciliation attempts, focusing instead on helping build the strongest possible legal case. My lawyers say Jamie's conviction is virtually guaranteed given the mountain of evidence. They're now focusing on ensuring she receives the maximum possible sentence. The story has attracted media attention, but I've declined all interview requests. My focus remains on justice through legal channels, not public exposure. However, several of Jamie's co-conspirators have started talking to journalists, revealing the full extent of her manipulation network. I'll update again after the preliminary hearing next week. For now, I'm working with my legal team to prepare for what promises to be a landmark case in family law and criminal justice. Update 3. The preliminary hearing is over, and the results are more significant than anyone expected. Jamie pleaded guilty to all charges, but what happened in the courtroom was unexpected. She demanded to make a public statement against her lawyer's advice. For 45 minutes, she detailed her entire scheme, not out of remorse, but with a disturbing sense of pride. She described it as her masterpiece of revenge and showed no regret. The judge's reaction was unprecedented. After hearing Jamie's statement, she abandoned the standard sentencing guidelines. Citing her pathological pride and clear intention to reoffend, the judge imposed the maximum sentence on every count, to run consecutively rather than concurrently. Jamie will serve 25 years in prison, with no possibility of parole for 18 years. During her statement, Jamie revealed new information about other victims. Beyond the cases we knew about, she had attempted similar schemes against 3 other families in different states. The FBI has opened an interstate investigation, suggesting her crimes might lead to federal charges. The most shocking revelation came from her offshore accounts. The forensic accountants discovered she had been running a consultation service for other obsessed individuals, teaching them how to destroy families and relationships. She had clients across multiple countries. Interpol is now involved. Rachel testified about finding a hidden room in their basement, filled with surveillance equipment and monitors. Jamie had been watching not just their house, but had installed cameras in my apartment, my office, and even my car. The technical expert who examined the setup said it was military-grade surveillance technology. My youngest daughter Ashley made a breakthrough in analyzing Jamie's computer systems. Using her coding skills, she uncovered encrypted files showing Jamie had been planning to expand her scheme. She had detailed files on my coworkers' families, preparing to destroy multiple relationships simultaneously if I ever got close to proving my innocence. The company's investigation led to a complete overhaul of their security systems. They discovered Jamie had compromised nearly every department through blackmail and manipulation. The CEO personally testified about finding evidence that Jamie had been selling corporate secrets to fund her elaborate schemes. Lauren, in her capacity as a lawyer, has been working with the prosecution to build cases for Jamie's other victims. She found a pattern stretching back to her high school days. Jamie had been practicing and perfecting her techniques for over 25 years. Her investigation revealed a network of enablers Jamie had cultivated throughout her life. Madison's art gallery held an exhibition titled Betrayal's Shadow, featuring works she created processing this trauma. During the opening, she publicly confronted several of Jamie's accomplices who attended, not knowing she would be there. Their confessions, captured on video, provided evidence for additional prosecutions. Olivia discovered Jamie had been stalking her college teammates, collecting compromising information to ensure their silence. She's now working with campus security nationwide to develop protocols preventing similar manipulation schemes in university athletics. The psychological impact on our family has led to an unexpected development. The case is being studied at several major universities as an example of long-term psychological manipulation. Research teams are analyzing Jamie's methods to develop better detection and prevention strategies for similar cases. My parents have started a support group for families affected by pathological liars and manipulators. Through this network, they've uncovered 5 more cases of Jamie's interference in other families' lives, some dating back decades. These revelations have led to the reopening of several cold cases involving suspicious family breakups. The judge ordered Jamie to pay $12 million in restitution, combining compensatory and punitive damages. The forensic accountants found she had amassed over $20 million through her consultation service and corporate espionage, all of which has been seized. Looking ahead, I've declined all offers of reconciliation for my family. The damage runs too deep, and the years lost can never be recovered. I'm focusing on helping build safeguards to prevent others from experiencing similar manipulation. Several state legislatures are now considering Jamie's law to impose harsher penalties for orchestrated family destruction. The story has drawn international attention, but I maintain my privacy. Instead, I'm working with cybersecurity experts to develop software detecting patterns of systematic familial manipulation. Ashley is leading the technical development, turning our tragedy into something that might help others. This will be my final update. Justice has been served, but some wounds never heal. I'm moving forward with my life, focusing on preventing others from experiencing what Jamie did to our family.